Tired of wasting your weekends? The audiobook Weekend Warrior, Use Your Days Off to Build Better Habits, reveals how to transform your Saturdays and Sundays into powerful catalysts for personal growth. You'll learn to harness morning momentum, achieve micro wins, and master the art of energy reset. Don't let another weekend slip by. Discover how to build lasting habits without sacrificing relaxation. Your future self will thank you for the positive changes you'll set in motion. Before we go on, I invite you to download the free bundle, which contains the ebook version of this book and an executive summary of all the chapters with the key takeaways. Studies show that engaging with content through multiple formats significantly enhances learning and retention. Click on the first link in the description to claim your free bundle now and maximize your learning potential. Now it's free, but it won't be for long, so make sure to grab it while you can. Chapter 1. Rethinking Weekends. The alarm clock blares, jolting you awake. For a split second, panic sets in. Is it Monday already? But as consciousness floods back, relief washes over you. It's Saturday. The weekend has arrived. For many of us, this moment marks the beginning of a mental shift. The weight of the work week lifts, and we enter a different headspace. Weekends are our time off, our chance to relax, unwind, and forget about the pressures of daily life. It's a mindset deeply ingrained in modern culture, the idea that Saturday and Sunday are sacrosanct, meant solely for rest and leisure. But what if this conventional wisdom is holding us back? What if by treating weekends as a complete departure from our goals and aspirations, we're actually sabotaging our long-term progress and personal growth? This isn't about turning your precious days off into an extension of the work week. Far from it. Instead, it's about recognizing the immense potential that lies within those 48 hours. Potential that, when harnessed correctly, can propel you forward in ways you never imagined. The traditional weekend mindset is deeply rooted in how we view work-life balance. We see weekdays as the time for productivity, discipline, and forward momentum. In contrast, weekends become a free-for-all, a time when routines go out the window, healthy habits fall by the wayside, and we give ourselves permission to indulge in whatever feels good in the moment. On the surface, this seems harmless. After all, don't we deserve a break? But this all-or-nothing approach comes with hidden costs that can seriously undermine our personal growth and well-being. Consider the impact on habit formation. Building lasting habits requires consistency. When we completely abandon our routines every weekend, we create a disruptive cycle that makes it harder to maintain momentum. It's like taking 2 steps forward during the week, only to slide 1 step back every weekend. This disruption extends beyond just our habits. Our sleep cycles get thrown off when we stay up late and sleep in on weekends. Our productivity takes a hit when we struggle to get back into gear on Monday morning. Even our motivation can waver as we grapple with the stark contrast between our weekend and weekday selves. Perhaps most insidious is the mental and emotional stagnation that can set in when we approach weekends without intention. Aimless hours spent scrolling social media or binge-watching TV might feel relaxing in the moment, but they often leave us feeling unfulfilled and disconnected from our larger goals and values. Of course, it's easy to justify this passive approach to weekends. We tell ourselves, "I worked hard all week, I deserve to do nothing." Or we argue that there's already too much going on during weekends, social obligations, household chores, family commitments, to focus on personal growth. Some of us worry that any kind of structured activity on weekends will make it feel like we're still working. These excuses are understandable, but they stem from a limited view of what weekends can be. The key is to shift our perspective and see Saturdays and Sundays not as a break from progress, but as a unique opportunity to approach our goals and habits from a different angle. This doesn't mean filling every moment of your weekend with productive tasks. Instead, it's about finding a balance that allows for both rest and growth. It's about making intentional choices that align with your values and long-term aspirations rather than defaulting to passive leisure. One of the biggest obstacles to this mindset shift is the reset mentality. The idea that we can simply hit pause on our habits and goals over the weekend and pick up where we left off on Monday. This all-or-nothing thinking traps us in a cycle of inconsistency. When we completely step away from our habits, even for just 2 days, we make it harder to restart. The neural pathways we've been building during the week start to weaken. Our willpower muscles, which we've been flexing Monday through Friday, begin to atrophy. By Monday morning, we're essentially starting over, rather than building on the momentum we've created. But here's the exciting flip side. Weekends, when approached with intention, can actually boost our consistency and accelerate our progress. By maintaining even a scaled-down version of our habits and routines, we keep those neural pathways firing. We reinforce the identity we're trying to build, and we create a sense of continuity that makes Monday feel like a natural progression rather than a jarring restart. This continuity is crucial because small setbacks have a way of compounding over time. Every skipped workout, every weekend of mindless eating, every day spent ignoring our goals, they all add up. Before we know it, we're caught in a frustrating cycle of progress and relapse, never quite breaking through to lasting change. The power of weekends lies in their ability to break this cycle. By viewing Saturday and Sunday as integral parts of our growth journey, we can avoid the 5 steps forward, 2 steps back pattern that plagues so many people's attempts at self-improvement. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about replacing the idea of weekends as a reward for hard work with the concept of alignment, choosing activities and habits that are in harmony with our larger goals and values, even as we relax and recharge. So, how do we tap into the potential of our weekends? It starts with recognizing that 2 days are more than enough time to make significant strides in our personal growth. The flexibility of weekends allows us to approach our habits and goals from new angles, experiment with different strategies, and dive deeper into areas we might not have time for during the busy work week. For example, weekends offer the perfect opportunity to engage in longer, more focused practice sessions for a skill you're developing. They provide space for deeper reflection and planning, allowing you to step back and assess your overall progress and direction. Weekends can be used for more extensive self-care routines, relationship-building activities, or immersive learning experiences. The key is to align these weekend actions with your personal values and long-term aspirations. This alignment is what transforms weekend activities from mere time fillers into powerful catalysts for growth. When your weekend choices reflect what truly matters to you, you'll find that even leisure activities take on new meaning and contribute to your overall sense of fulfillment. Of course, rest remains a crucial component of any successful weekend strategy. But it's important to distinguish between passive rest, the kind that leaves you feeling lethargic and disconnected, and active rest that truly rejuvenates you. Active rest might involve gentle physical activity, engaging hobbies, time in nature, or meaningful social connections. These activities allow you to recharge while still staying connected to your values and goals. As you begin to rethink your approach to weekends, it's helpful to build a new narrative around what these days mean to you. This narrative should create continuity between your weekday and weekend selves, rather than treating them as separate entities. Your weekend identity should align with and support your weekday ambitions, not undermine them. Start by identifying specific areas where your current weekend routines might be holding you back. Are there particular time slots that tend to be wasted? Are there habits you consistently let slide? Recognizing these patterns is the first step in transforming them. Next, look for high-potential opportunities within your weekend schedule. Maybe there's a quiet hour on Saturday morning that could be used for focused work on a personal project. Perhaps Sunday evening could become a time for reflection and planning for the week ahead. These small shifts can unlock tremendous motivation and progress. To solidify this new approach, it's helpful to conduct a thorough self-assessment of your current weekend routines. Review how you've spent recent weekends, looking for both positive patterns to reinforce and negative habits to address. This habit audit can be a powerful tool for weekend transformation, highlighting where small changes could lead to big impacts. As you work to shift your mindset, there are several practical exercises and techniques you can employ. Start by consciously adopting a weekend warrior identity, someone who sees weekends as an opportunity for growth and positive action. Use positive self-talk to set expectations for your weekend, focusing on what you want to accomplish rather than what you want to avoid. Learn to catch and replace limiting thoughts about weekends. When you find yourself thinking, "I just want to relax and do nothing," try reframing it as, "I want to engage in activities that truly rejuvenate me and align with my goals." This subtle shift can make a big difference in your motivation and choices. Developing awareness of negative weekend thinking patterns is crucial. Practice mindfulness to interrupt automatic behaviors that don't serve you. Challenge old narratives about what weekends should look like. Consider keeping a simple weekend reflection log to track your progress and insights. Finally, take the time to write down your vision for this new weekend approach. There's power in putting your intentions on paper. Create a simple, motivating statement that captures how you want to use your weekends to support your larger life goals. This written commitment can serve as a touchstone when you need a reminder of why you're making these changes. Remember, this new approach to weekends is not set in stone. As you implement these ideas, pay attention to what works and what doesn't. Be willing to adjust and refine your weekend strategy over time. The goal is to find a balance that leaves you feeling both rested and accomplished, ready to tackle the week ahead with renewed energy and focus. Rethinking weekends doesn't mean sacrificing relaxation or fun. Instead, it's about making conscious choices that align with your values and aspirations. It's about seeing those precious 48 hours not as a break from your best self, but as an opportunity to nurture and strengthen that self. As you close this chapter and look ahead to the rest of this book, imagine the possibilities that await when you harness the full potential of your weekends. Picture yourself entering each new week feeling energized, focused, and aligned with your goals. That's the power of becoming a true weekend warrior. In the chapters that follow, we'll explore specific strategies for making the most of your weekends, from creating energizing morning routines to leveraging the power of deep work sessions. But it all starts with this fundamental shift in perspective, seeing weekends not as a pause in your journey of growth, but as a unique and powerful tool to accelerate that journey. The weekend warrior mindset is about more than just productivity. It's about living with intention, aligning your actions with your values, and making every day count in your pursuit of a more fulfilling life. As you turn the page to the next chapter, get ready to discover how to create unstoppable momentum by mastering your weekend mornings. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to Grow to the Top and activate notifications to receive more self-improvement tips that will supercharge your growth. And make sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2, Morning Momentum. The soft light of dawn creeps through your curtains, gently coaxing you from slumber. As consciousness slowly returns, a realization dawns. It's the weekend. For many, this moment triggers an automatic response. Roll over, pull the covers up, and drift back to sleep. After all, isn't that what weekends are for? But what if those first waking moments held more potential than we realize? What if the way we approach our weekend mornings could set the tone not just for the day ahead, but for our entire week? Welcome to the concept of morning momentum, a powerful strategy that can transform your weekends and, by extension, your life. It's not about forcing yourself into a rigid routine or sacrificing the relaxation you crave. Instead, it's about harnessing the unique energy of weekend mornings to create a ripple effect of positivity and productivity that carries you through the days ahead. The power of a purposeful start cannot be overstated. Those initial hours after waking are a blank canvas, rich with possibility. Your mind is fresh, unburdened by the accumulated stresses of the day. Your willpower is at its peak, making it easier to make choices aligned with your goals and values. By tapping into this potential, you set in motion a series of positive actions that can shape the entire trajectory of your day. Consider the alternative, the wasted morning scenario that many of us are all too familiar with. You sleep in late, perhaps scrolling through your phone before even getting out of bed. Before you know it, half the day has slipped away, leaving you feeling groggy, unproductive, and somehow already behind. This pattern doesn't just rob you of time, it saps your energy and motivation, making it harder to engage in the activities that truly matter to you. But a strong start doesn't just enhance productivity, it can actually amplify your ability to relax and enjoy your weekend. When you begin your day with intention, you create a sense of accomplishment early on. This satisfaction frees you to fully engage in leisure activities later without the nagging feeling that you're wasting your precious time off. The key lies in finding the right balance between structure and spontaneity. A weekend morning routine doesn't mean scheduling every minute or forcing yourself into activities you dread. It's about creating a loose framework that guides you towards positive choices while still allowing for flexibility and joy. Think of it as the difference between a mindful morning and a mindless one. A mindless morning happens to you. You drift through it on autopilot, reacting to whatever grabs your attention first. A mindful morning, on the other hand, is one you actively shape. You make conscious decisions about how to use your time and energy, even if those decisions involve relaxation and leisure. One of the biggest hurdles to creating morning momentum is the urge to oversleep excessively. While catching up on some sleep during the weekend can be beneficial, extending it too far can disrupt your body's natural rhythms and leave you feeling more tired, not less. The goal is to find a sweet spot, a wake-up time that allows for adequate rest without throwing off your entire schedule. This doesn't mean you need to set an alarm for the crack of dawn every Saturday and Sunday. Instead, aim for consistency without rigidity. Try to wake up within an hour or two of your usual weekday time. This helps maintain your body's natural sleep-wake cycle while still giving you that delicious feeling of sleeping in. Of course, social events and late nights are part of what make weekends enjoyable. The trick is learning how to handle these occasions without completely derailing your mornings. It might mean adjusting your wake-up time slightly the next day, or having a backup plan for low-key morning activities that still get you moving and motivated. As you begin to craft your personalized weekend morning ritual, the first step is determining your ideal wake-up window. This will be unique to you based on your natural rhythms, weekend commitments, and personal goals. The key is to find a time that feels good, one that allows you to wake naturally and start your day without rushing, but also doesn't leave you feeling like you've wasted half the day in bed. Remember, this isn't about forcing an early wake-up if that doesn't align with your lifestyle. It's about finding the sweet spot between refreshing rest and sluggish oversleeping. Pay attention to how you feel when you wake at different times. Do you bounce out of bed, ready to tackle the day? Or do you feel groggy and unmotivated? Use these cues to dial in your optimal wake-up window. Once you've identified when to start your day, the next question is how to start it. The ideal activities for early day energy will vary from person to person, but they generally share a few key characteristics. They should be enjoyable, not overly demanding, and provide a sense of accomplishment or well-being. Movement is often a cornerstone of energizing morning routines, but this doesn't mean you need to jump into an intense workout first thing. The goal is simply to get your body moving in a way that feels good. This could be a gentle stretch routine, a short walk around the neighborhood, or even a dance party in your living room to your favorite upbeat music. The key is to choose something that you look forward to, not dread. Mental activation is equally important. Engaging your brain in the morning helps shake off the fog of sleep and primes you for clearer thinking throughout the day. This could involve reading a few pages of an inspiring book, doing a quick crossword puzzle, or spending a few minutes journaling. The key is to choose activities that stimulate your mind without feeling like work. For some, morning solitude is essential, a quiet time for reflection and self-connection before the demands of the day set in. For others, social connection provides the energy boost they need. There's no right or wrong approach. The important thing is to identify what truly energizes you and make space for it in your morning routine. As you begin to structure your weekend morning ritual, remember that flexibility is key. Strict routines often backfire on weekends, leading to feelings of guilt or failure when you inevitably deviate from them. Instead, aim for a loose framework that guides you towards positive choices while still allowing for spontaneity and adaptation. Think of your morning routine as a menu of options rather than a rigid schedule. Have a selection of activities that you know make you feel good, and choose from them based on your energy levels, time available, and specific plans for the day. This approach allows you to maintain consistency in starting your day with intention, even when the details vary. The beauty of this flexible approach is that it can adapt to different weekend scenarios. Maybe one Saturday you have an early commitment and need a quick, energizing start. Another weekend, you might have a leisurely morning ahead and can indulge in a longer, more relaxed routine. By having a range of go-to morning activities, you can tailor your approach to fit any situation while still maintaining the core principle of starting your day with purpose. One of the biggest challenges in creating morning momentum is simply getting started. It's all too easy to hit snooze or linger in bed, especially when there's no external pressure to get moving. This is where strategies for boosting motivation and energy come into play. The key to overcoming initial resistance is to make the first step as small and appealing as possible. Instead of thinking about your entire morning routine, focus on just the first tiny action. Maybe it's simply sitting up in bed and taking 3 deep breaths. Or it could be putting on your favorite cozy socks. The goal is to create a positive association with getting your day started rather than viewing it as a chore. This concept of tiny steps is powerful in kickstarting bigger habits. Once you've taken that first small action, it becomes much easier to take the next one and the next. Before you know it, you're fully engaged in your morning routine, all because you made that initial move. Simple movement is often the fastest way to increase motivation and energy. Even a few minutes of gentle stretching or walking can get your blood flowing, release endorphins, and wake up your body and mind. The key is to find movement that feels good to you, something you genuinely enjoy, rather than a workout you have to force yourself through. Mental stimuli can be equally energizing. Whether you choose reflection through journaling, inspiration through reading, or centering through mindfulness practices, engaging your mind in a positive way sets the tone for clearer, more focused thinking throughout the day. The key is to make these mental activities enjoyable rather than feeling like another task on your to-do list. If journaling feels like a chore, try a more creative approach like sketching or free writing. If sitting still for meditation is challenging, try a walking meditation or guided visualization. Experiment until you find mental practices that leave you feeling refreshed and motivated. Incorporating a quick win early in your morning can be a powerful way to build momentum. This is based on the psychology of small successes. Achieving something, even something minor, releases dopamine in the brain, creating a positive feedback loop that motivates you to keep going. These early wins don't have to be big or time-consuming. It could be as simple as making your bed, completing a short workout, or crossing off the first item on your to-do list. The key is that it gives you a sense of accomplishment and progress right from the start of your day. As you develop your weekend morning routine, it's important to be aware of common pitfalls that can derail your efforts. One of the biggest is overcommitting and feeling overwhelmed. In our enthusiasm to make the most of our mornings, it's easy to plan too many activities or set unrealistic expectations. This can lead to feelings of stress or failure if we don't accomplish everything we set out to do. Remember, the goal of morning momentum is to energize and motivate you, not to create additional pressure. Start small, with just 1 or 2 key activities that you know make a positive difference in your day. As these become habitual, you can gradually add more if you choose to. Another common pitfall is falling into the just this once trap of sleeping too late. It's easy to rationalize hitting snooze or staying in bed, especially when you don't have external commitments forcing you up. But these small decisions can quickly become habits, undermining your efforts to create consistent morning momentum. The key is to recognize the long-term impact of these choices. One lazy morning might not seem like a big deal, but it can disrupt your sleep cycle and make it harder to maintain your routine in the future. When you're tempted to sleep in, remind yourself of how good you feel when you stick to your morning routine. As you implement your new morning strategy, it's important to monitor your progress, but be careful not to slip into micromanaging. The goal is to create a positive, energizing start to your day, not to add stress or rigid expectations. Pay attention to how you feel after different morning activities and be willing to adjust your approach based on what works best for you. One often overlooked aspect of weekend morning momentum is consistency across both Saturday and Sunday. While it's natural for these 2 days to have different rhythms, maintaining some level of consistency in how you start each day can amplify the benefits of your morning routine. This doesn't mean your Saturday and Sunday mornings need to be identical. In fact, distinguishing between the two can be helpful. Perhaps Saturday mornings are for more active pursuits, while Sundays have a slower, more reflective pace. The key is to have a core set of principles or activities that anchor both mornings, creating a sense of continuity and intention. Handling late-night social events without completely derailing your mornings is another important skill to develop. It's unrealistic and probably not desirable to never stay out late on a Friday or Saturday night. The trick is to have a backup plan for those mornings after a late night, a modified version of your routine that still gets you moving and motivated, even if it's a bit later or lower key than usual. The impact of 2 consecutive productive mornings on your weekly mindset cannot be overstated. When you start both Saturday and Sunday with intention and positive energy, you create a powerful momentum that can carry you into the new week. You begin Monday feeling accomplished and aligned with your goals, rather than groggy and unprepared. As you experiment with different morning activities and routines, pay attention to how they affect not just your day, but your entire week. You may find that certain morning habits have a surprisingly long-lasting impact on your mood, productivity, and overall well-being. Remember, the goal of morning momentum isn't to turn your weekends into an extension of the work week or to fill every moment with productive tasks. It's about creating a positive, energizing start that allows you to make the most of your free time, whether that means tackling personal projects, enjoying leisure activities, or simply being present with loved ones. By harnessing the power of your weekend mornings, you set the stage for days filled with purpose, joy, and alignment with your values. You create a ripple effect of positive choices that can transform not just your weekends, but your entire approach to life. As we close this chapter on morning momentum, you might be wondering how to maintain this energy throughout the day. How can you build on the positive start you've created and turn it into lasting change? The next chapter will explore a powerful strategy for doing just that, one that might surprise you with its simplicity and effectiveness. Get ready to discover how the smallest actions can lead to the biggest transformations in your weekend warrior journey. Chapter 3, Microwins. Have you ever stood at the base of a mountain, looking up at its towering peak, feeling overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the climb ahead? That's how many of us feel when faced with our biggest goals and aspirations. The distance between where we are and where we want to be can seem insurmountable, especially when we're juggling the demands of daily life. But what if I told you there was a way to scale that mountain without exhausting yourself or sacrificing your weekends to grueling effort? What if the key to reaching the summit lay not in giant leaps, but in the tiniest of steps? Welcome to the world of microwins, a powerful strategy that can transform your approach to personal growth and habit formation. It's an approach that challenges the common belief that significant change requires Herculean effort. Instead, it invites you to embrace the extraordinary power of small actions. But what exactly constitutes a micro win? It's not about setting the bar so low that achievement becomes meaningless. Rather, it's about identifying actions so small and manageable that they're almost impossible to resist. These are the kinds of actions that don't require you to summon immense willpower or dramatically alter your weekend routine. They're the quiet, unassuming steps that, when taken consistently, lead to remarkable transformations. Think of micro wins as the building blocks of larger achievements. They're the 5-minute decluttering sessions that eventually lead to an organized home. They're the 10 pages of reading that accumulate into finished books and expanded knowledge. They're the brief moments of mindfulness practice that gradually reshape your mental landscape. The beauty of micro wins lies in their accessibility. When we set ambitious, sweeping goals for our weekends, we often set ourselves up for disappointment. Life gets in the way, unexpected events arise, or we simply find ourselves lacking the energy to tackle big tasks. But micro wins sidestep these obstacles. They're so small, so doable, that they fit seamlessly into even the busiest or most unpredictable weekends. This approach isn't about lowering your standards or settling for less. It's about recognizing that consistent, small actions often lead to greater progress than sporadic, intense efforts. It's about building momentum through regular success rather than facing the discouragement of repeated failure. The key to making micro wins effective lies in their consistency and intentionality. It's not enough to simply do small things randomly. The power comes from choosing specific, meaningful actions and performing them regularly. This is where the magic of habit formation comes into play. Our brains are wired to conserve energy and seek efficiency. When we repeatedly perform an action, especially one that's easy and rewarding, our brains begin to automate that behavior. This is the science behind effortless habit building. By focusing on tiny, manageable actions, we bypass the resistance that often comes with trying to form new habits. Think about it. Which is easier to commit to? Running 5 miles every Saturday, or putting on your running shoes and stepping outside for just 1 minute? The latter is so easy, so free of pressure, that it's hard to find an excuse not to do it. And here's the interesting part. Once you've taken that first small step, you've overcome the biggest hurdle. You're already dressed and outside. Why not walk around the block? And once you're walking, why not jog a little? This is the too small to fail principle in action. By setting the initial bar incredibly low, you eliminate the mental resistance that often prevents us from starting. You create a safe space for action, free from the fear of failure that can paralyze us when facing bigger challenges. But the true power of micro wins reveals itself over time. Like compound interest in finance, small actions accumulate and multiply, often in surprising ways. That 1-minute step outside might evolve into a regular running habit. Those 5 minutes of decluttering might spark a full home organization project. The brief moments of mindfulness might blossom into a transformative meditation practice. This cumulative effect is often invisible in the short term, which is why many people underestimate the power of small actions. But when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the impact becomes clear. It's like the old riddle. Would you rather have $1 million now or a penny that doubles every day for a month? The penny, through the power of compounding, ends up being worth far more. The same principle applies to personal growth and habit formation. Consistent small wins compound over time, not just in terms of the direct results of your actions, but also in how they shape your self-perception and build momentum for further change. As you begin to explore the world of micro wins, one of the first challenges is selecting the right habits to focus on. This process starts with self-reflection. What areas of your life would benefit most from consistent, incremental improvement? Are there aspects of your physical health, mental well-being, or personal skills that you've been wanting to enhance? It's important to consider different types of habits. Some might be action-based, like tidying up for 5 minutes or practicing a musical instrument. Others might be mindset-oriented, such as a brief gratitude practice or positive affirmations. Learning habits, like reading a few pages of an educational book, can also be powerful micro-wins. The key is to choose habits that align with your larger goals and values. What small actions, if done consistently, would move you closer to the person you want to become? Prioritize habits that offer a high return on investment, those that, even in small doses, can have a significant impact on your overall well-being and progress. When setting targets for your micro-wins, it's crucial to find the right balance. The ideal length or scope of a micro-habit can vary, but generally, it should be something you can complete in 5 to 10 minutes or less. The frequency can also vary. Some habits might be daily, while others are weekend-specific. Remember, the goal is to make these habits so easy and manageable that you can't help but do them, even on your busiest or lowest energy days. As you progress, you may find opportunities to increase the duration or frequency of certain habits, but be cautious about doing this too quickly. The power of micro-wins lies in their sustainability. It's also important to ensure that each win, no matter how small, feels meaningful to you. Avoid falling into the trap of creating a checklist of meaningless actions just for the sake of ticking boxes. Each micro-win should contribute, even if in a small way, to your larger goals or sense of well-being. The psychology behind small victories is fascinating and key to understanding why micro-wins are so effective. Every time you complete a task, even a tiny one, your brain releases a small amount of dopamine. This neurotransmitter is associated with pleasure, learning, and motivation. By consistently achieving small wins, you're essentially training your brain to crave these positive actions. This is why celebrating your micro-wins, no matter how minor they might seem, is so important. Each acknowledgement reinforces the neural pathways associated with that behavior, making it more likely that you'll repeat it in the future. Over time, you can actually train yourself to find joy and satisfaction in the very habits you're trying to build. Moreover, these small victories contribute to building self-efficacy, your belief in your ability to succeed and achieve your goals. Each time you follow through on a micro-win, you're proving to yourself that you are capable of consistency and follow-through. This growing confidence can have a profound impact on other areas of your life. As your confidence grows, you may notice a shift in how you perceive yourself. Instead of someone who's trying to be more organized, you become someone who is organized because you consistently tidy up for 5 minutes each day. This shift from trying to being is a powerful transformation in self-identity that can fuel further positive changes. One of the most significant benefits of the micro-wins approach is how it helps overcome resistance and procrastination. By lowering the effort barrier to start a habit, you sidestep the mental hurdles that often prevent action. The psychological trick of just starting is incredibly powerful. Once you've begun, it's much easier to continue. This principle can be applied to virtually any habit or goal. Want to write a book? Start with a goal of writing 1 sentence a day. Hoping to get in shape? Begin with a single push-up each morning. The initial action, no matter how small, creates momentum that can carry you further than you might expect. As you implement micro-wins into your weekend routine, consider creating a simple tracking system. This doesn't need to be elaborate. A basic checklist or habit tracker can be incredibly effective. The act of visually recording your wins serves multiple purposes. It provides a clear record of your consistency, offers a sense of accomplishment, and can be a motivating factor in maintaining your habits. Some people prefer digital tracking apps, while others enjoy the tactile experience of marking progress on paper. Experiment with different methods to find what works best for you. One popular analog method is the X method, where you mark an X on a calendar for each day you complete your habit, creating a visual chain that you'll be motivated to maintain. While tracking is helpful, be cautious about becoming obsessive. The goal is to maintain awareness and motivation, not to create additional stress or turn your micro-wins into a source of pressure. Celebrating each win is crucial, but it's important to find the right balance. Acknowledgement strengthens habit formation, but overindulgence can be counterproductive. The key is to find forms of celebration that reinforce your progress without undermining your goals. This might be as simple as taking a moment to feel proud of yourself, sharing your accomplishment with a supportive friend, or marking your progress in a journal. As you continue with your micro wins, you'll likely find that some habits become easier and more automatic. This is a sign of progress and an opportunity to consider scaling up. However, it's important to approach this gradually and mindfully. Sudden, dramatic increases in difficulty or duration can lead to burnout or resistance. Instead, look for small ways to expand your habits. If you've been consistently reading for 10 minutes each weekend morning, you might try extending it to 15 minutes. If your 5-minute tidying session feels too easy, consider increasing it to 7 minutes. The key is to maintain the feeling of achievability while gently pushing your boundaries. One of the most powerful aspects of the micro-wins approach is how it can create momentum that extends beyond the weekend. As these small habits become ingrained, you'll likely find opportunities to incorporate them into your weekday routines as well. The weekend becomes a launchpad for habits that can transform your entire week. For example, if you've established a habit of 5 minutes of mindfulness practice each weekend morning, you might find ways to incorporate brief moments of mindfulness into your workday. The confidence and skills you've built through your weekend micro-wins make it easier to navigate the challenges of maintaining habits during busier weekdays. As your habits grow and evolve, it's important to maintain a balance between your micro-habits and larger, more ambitious goals. Micro-wins are not meant to replace all other forms of personal development. Rather, they provide a stable foundation upon which you can build. They're the consistent, reliable actions that keep you moving forward even when you don't have the time or energy for more significant efforts. Knowing when to transition from micro to full-sized habits is a skill that develops with experience. Pay attention to how your habits feel. When a micro-win starts to feel almost effortless and you find yourself naturally wanting to do more, it might be time to gradually increase its scope. However, always keep a few true micro-wins in your routine, those incredibly easy, resistance-free actions that you can fall back on during particularly challenging times. Regular self-review plays a crucial role in maintaining progress and ensuring your micro-wins continue to serve you effectively. Set aside time each week, perhaps on Sunday evening, to reflect on your habits. Which ones are you consistently achieving? Which ones feel challenging? Are there any that no longer seem relevant or beneficial? Use this reflection time to adjust and refine your approach. Maybe certain habits need to be tweaked to better fit your current lifestyle. Perhaps you've outgrown some and are ready for new challenges. This ongoing process of review and adjustment keeps your habit system dynamic and aligned with your evolving goals and circumstances. As you continue your journey with micro-wins, remember that the goal is progress, not perfection. There will be days when you don't complete every habit, and that's okay. The power of this approach lies in its flexibility and forgiveness. One missed day doesn't negate your progress. It's the long-term consistency that matters. Embrace the compounding nature of small actions. Trust that these tiny steps, these seemingly insignificant wins, are adding up to something greater. Like a sculptor chipping away at a block of marble, you're gradually revealing the masterpiece of your best self through these consistent, intentional actions. The micro-wins approach is about more than just achieving goals or building habits. It's about transforming how you view progress and personal growth. It's about finding joy and satisfaction in the journey, not just the destination. It's about building confidence, resilience, and a sense of control over your life, one tiny victory at a time. As you close this chapter and reflect on the power of micro-wins, you might be wondering how to harness this energy for even greater achievements. How can you use these small, consistent actions as a springboard for tackling bigger challenges? The next chapter will introduce you to a strategy that builds on the foundation of micro-wins, allowing you to dive deep into meaningful work and significant personal projects. Get ready to discover how to create islands of intense focus in the sea of your weekend, unlocking potential you may never have realized you had. Chapter 4: Deep Work Blocks. In our fast-paced, constantly connected world, there's a rare and valuable commodity that seems to be slipping through our fingers: focused attention. We live in an age of distraction, where notifications ping incessantly, social media beckons at every turn, and the lines between work and leisure blur into a constant state of partial attention. Amid this chaos, the ability to concentrate deeply on a single task has become not just a skill, but a superpower. But what if I told you that your weekends hold the key to unlocking this superpower? That within those precious hours of Saturday and Sunday lies the potential for extraordinary productivity and personal growth. Welcome to the world of deep work blocks, a strategy that can transform your weekends from a blur of relaxation and chores into a launchpad for your most meaningful projects and aspirations. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, aren't weekends supposed to be for relaxation, for stepping away from work and recharging? Absolutely. This isn't about turning your days off into an extension of the work week. Instead, it's about carving out small pockets of intense focus that can yield outsized results, leaving you with a sense of accomplishment that actually enhances your ability to relax and enjoy the rest of your weekend. So what exactly do we mean by deep work? It's a concept that goes beyond simply working hard or putting in long hours. Deep work is about creating the conditions for profound concentration and cognitive effort. It's the state of mind where you're so immersed in a task that time seems to fade away, where your creativity flows freely, and where you're able to tackle complex problems with clarity and insight. This kind of intense focus is increasingly rare in our modern world, which is precisely what makes it so valuable. In an economy where attention is constantly fragmented, the ability to dive deep into challenging work sets you apart. It's the difference between making incremental progress and achieving breakthrough results. But deep work isn't just about productivity or achievement. It has a profound impact on our sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. There's a unique joy that comes from losing yourself in a task, from pushing your cognitive limits and emerging on the other side with something tangible to show for it. This state of flow, as psychologists call it, is closely linked to happiness and personal growth. So, why focus on weekends for this kind of intense work? The answer lies in the unique nature of weekend time. During the work week, our attention is often pulled in multiple directions. We have meetings to attend, emails to answer, and a constant stream of small tasks that demand our attention. Weekends, by contrast, offer the gift of unstructured time, hours that we have more control over, free from many of the external demands that fragment our focus during the week. This doesn't mean you should fill your entire weekend with work. The key is to find a balance, to set aside specific blocks of time for deep focus while still preserving plenty of space for rest, leisure, and social activities. In fact, having clear boundaries between your deep work sessions and your relaxation time can enhance both experiences. Think of it like interval training for your mind. Just as high-intensity workouts, interspersed with rest periods, can yield better physical results than long, moderate exercise, short bursts of intense mental focus surrounded by periods of relaxation can lead to greater cognitive gains and overall satisfaction. The first step in incorporating deep work blocks into your weekend is to create the right environment. This doesn't necessarily mean you need a fancy home office or a secluded cabin in the woods, though those certainly wouldn't hurt. The key is to find a space where you can minimize distractions and signal to your brain that it's time for focused work. This might be a quiet corner of your home, a local library, or even a favorite coffee shop if you find that ambient noise helps you concentrate. The important thing is that it's a space where you can consistently go to engage in deep work, creating a mental association between that environment and focused productivity. Next, you'll want to identify a meaningful project or task to focus on during your deep work blocks. This should be something that requires concentrated thought and creativity. the kind of work that's hard to do in short, distracted bursts. It might be writing a chapter of your novel, developing a business plan, learning a new programming language, or planning out a major life change. The key is to choose something that genuinely matters to you, something that aligns with your long-term goals or passions. Deep work is challenging, and you'll be more motivated to push through the initial discomfort if you're working on something you truly care about. Once you've chosen your space and your task, it's crucial to communicate boundaries to friends and family. Let them know that for a specific period of time, you'll be unavailable. This isn't about isolating yourself or neglecting relationships. Rather, it's about creating a container for focused work so that when you do engage in leisure or social activities, you can be fully present without the nagging feeling that you should be working on something. Now, let's talk about how to structure your deep work block. The optimal length and frequency will vary depending on your personal circumstances and the nature of your work. For some, a 2-hour block once a week might be perfect. Others might prefer shorter, more frequent sessions, like an hour each day of the weekend. Experiment to find what works best for you, but start with sessions that feel challenging but achievable. It's better to consistently complete shorter sessions than to attempt marathon deep work periods that leave you burnt out. During your deep work block, minimizing digital distractions is crucial. This means turning off notifications on your phone and computer, closing unnecessary browser tabs, and possibly even using apps that block access to distracting websites for the duration of your session. Some people find that certain types of music enhance their ability to focus, while others prefer complete silence. Again, this is a personal preference that you'll discover through experimentation. The key is to create an environment that allows your mind to settle into deep concentration without constantly pulling it back to the surface. As you begin your deep work session, it's normal to face some initial challenges in settling in. Our brains are so accustomed to constant stimulation that the prospect of sustained focus can feel uncomfortable at first. You might find your mind wandering or feel the urge to check your phone. This is where techniques like the Pomodoro method can be helpful. Set a timer for 25 minutes and commit to focusing solely on your task for that period. When the timer goes off, take a short break. This structured approach can make it easier to overcome the initial resistance to deep work. Another helpful strategy is to start with a clear, specific goal for your session. Rather than a vague intention to work on your project, decide that you're going to outline 3 chapters, solve a specific problem, or complete a defined portion of your task. This gives your mind a concrete target to focus on. As you push through the initial discomfort, you'll likely find yourself slipping into a state of flow. This is where the magic of deep work really happens. Time seems to slow down or speed up, depending on your perspective. Your focus sharpens, and you find yourself fully immersed in the task at hand. In this state, your productivity can skyrocket. You might accomplish in 2 hours what would normally take you an entire day of distracted work. But beyond just productivity, there's a profound sense of satisfaction that comes from this kind of focused effort. You're stretching your cognitive abilities, pushing yourself to new levels of understanding and creativity. The mental and emotional benefits of these deep work sessions can extend far beyond the time you spend working. You'll likely find that you feel more relaxed and satisfied during your leisure time, knowing that you've made meaningful progress on important goals. This can help alleviate the Sunday evening anxiety that many people experience, replacing it with a sense of accomplishment and anticipation for the week ahead. After each deep work block, it's valuable to take some time for reflection. What insights did you gain during your focused work? What strategies helped you maintain concentration, and where did you struggle? This post-session review helps you continually refine your approach, making each subsequent deep work session more effective. You might find that you need to adjust the length of your sessions or the complexity of the tasks you're tackling. Perhaps you discover that you work best in the early morning hours, or that you need a short walk before diving into deep work to clear your mind. The key is to approach this as an ongoing experiment, always looking for ways to enhance your ability to focus and produce meaningful work. As you incorporate deep work blocks into your weekend routine, pay attention to how they interact with your other activities and commitments. The goal is to find a harmonious balance where your periods of intense focus actually enhance your ability to relax and enjoy your free time. You might discover, for example, that a Saturday morning deep work session leaves you feeling energized and accomplished, setting a positive tone for the rest of your weekend. Or you might find that a Sunday afternoon session helps you mentally prepare for the week ahead, reducing anxiety and increasing your sense of control. Remember, the purpose of deep work blocks isn't to turn your entire weekend into a work marathon. It's about creating islands of intense focus in the sea of your free time, allowing you to make significant progress on important projects without sacrificing the rejuvenating aspects of your weekend. Over time, as you practice and refine your deep work skills, you may find that this ability to focus intensely becomes a powerful tool in other areas of your life. The concentration techniques you develop during your weekend sessions can help you navigate busy workdays more effectively, allowing you to carve out periods of deep focus even amid the chaos of a typical day. Moreover, the sense of accomplishment and progress you gain from your deep work blocks can have a profound impact on your overall motivation and sense of purpose. You're no longer just dreaming about your goals or making incremental progress, you're actively bringing them to life, one focused session at a time. This approach to weekends, balancing periods of intense focus with relaxation and leisure, can transform how you view your time off. Instead of seeing weekends as merely a break from the demands of the work week, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth, creativity, and meaningful achievement. The skills you develop through practicing deep work, the ability to concentrate intensely, to push through cognitive challenges, to enter a state of flow, are invaluable in our increasingly distracted world. They set you apart in your professional life, enhance your personal projects, and contribute to a deeper sense of satisfaction and purpose. As you experiment with deep work blocks, be patient with yourself. Like any skill, the ability to engage in sustained, focused work takes time to develop. You might find it challenging at first to maintain concentration for long periods, or you might struggle to carve out the time amidst other weekend commitments. This is normal and part of the learning process. Start small if you need to. Even a 30-minute block of focused work can yield significant results. As you build your focus muscles, you can gradually increase the duration and frequency of your sessions. The key is consistency and a willingness to learn from each experience. Also, remember that deep work is not about perfection. There will be sessions where you struggle to concentrate, where distractions creep in despite your best efforts. Don't let these moments discourage you. Instead, view them as valuable data, helping you understand what conditions and strategies work best for you. As you continue to integrate deep work blocks into your weekends, you may find that they become something you look forward to. Not a chore, but an opportunity to engage with your most important and fulfilling work. There's a unique satisfaction in knowing that you're making tangible progress on your goals, pushing your boundaries, and growing in ways that extend far beyond the specific task at hand. This approach to weekends, this balance of focused effort and relaxation, has the potential to reshape not just your Saturdays and Sundays, but your entire approach to work and life. You're developing a skill that's increasingly rare and valuable in our distracted world, one that can set you apart in your career and help you achieve your personal goals with greater speed and satisfaction. But deep work is just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to making the most of your weekends. As powerful as these focused sessions can be, they're most effective when balanced with other types of activities that nourish different aspects of your well-being. In the next chapter, we'll explore a complementary strategy that can help you recharge and rejuvenate, ensuring that your weekends leave you not just accomplished, but truly refreshed and ready for whatever the week ahead may bring. Get ready to discover how the right kind of leisure can be just as transformative as the most focused work session. Chapter 5: Smart Leisure. As the weekend approaches, a familiar sense of anticipation builds. The promise of free time stretches before you, full of possibility. But how often have you reached Sunday evening feeling somehow both exhausted and unfulfilled, wondering where the time went and why you don't feel truly refreshed? The concept of leisure seems simple on the surface. It's time free from work and obligations, meant for relaxation and enjoyment. Yet in our modern world, leisure has become increasingly complex. We're bombarded with endless entertainment options, each vying for our attention. Social media and streaming services offer constant distraction. The line between work and personal time blurs, with emails and messages intruding on our days off. In this landscape, it's easy to fall into patterns of leisure that leave us feeling drained rather than recharged. We might spend hours scrolling through social media or binge-watching shows, only to emerge feeling lethargic and disconnected. Or we might pack our weekends so full of activities and social obligations that we start the new week already tired. But what if there was a way to approach leisure that left you feeling both relaxed and enriched? What if your free time could be not just enjoyable in the moment, but also contribute to your long-term growth and well-being? This is the essence of smart leisure, a strategic approach to downtime that aligns fun with personal development. The key lies in understanding the difference between active and passive leisure. Passive leisure activities are those that require little engagement from us. Watching TV, browsing social media, or lying on the beach doing nothing are all examples of passive leisure. These activities can be relaxing and have their place, but when overdone, they often leave us feeling unfulfilled. Active leisure, on the other hand, involves some level of engagement or effort. This could be physical, like going for a hike or playing a sport. It could be mental, like reading a book or solving puzzles. Or it could be creative, like painting or playing music. The common thread is that these activities require us to participate actively rather than just consume passively. The benefits of active leisure are numerous. It tends to be more energizing, leaving us feeling refreshed rather than drained. It often involves learning or skill development, contributing to our sense of growth and accomplishment. And it typically aligns more closely with our values and long-term goals, leading to a greater sense of fulfillment. This doesn't mean that all passive leisure is bad or that we should eliminate it entirely. The key is finding the right balance. Some passive activities can be genuinely restorative, especially after a particularly stressful week. The goal is to be intentional about our choices, understanding the effects different types of leisure have on us, and choosing accordingly. Strategic relaxation is essential for growth and well-being. Our brains and bodies need downtime to process information, recover from stress, and recharge our mental and physical batteries. But not all forms of relaxation are created equal. The most effective forms of leisure for rejuvenation are those that engage us in ways that are different from our usual work or responsibilities. For example, if you spend your work week primarily engaged in mental tasks, physical leisure activities might be particularly refreshing. If your job involves a lot of social interaction, solitary creative pursuits might provide a welcome change of pace. The key is to choose activities that complement rather than mirror your daily responsibilities. Engaging in fulfilling leisure activities is also crucial for avoiding burnout. When we consistently choose leisure that aligns with our values and interests, we're more likely to feel a sense of purpose and engagement in our free time. This positive experience carries over into our work life, helping us maintain motivation and enthusiasm even during challenging periods. However, it's important to be aware of the dangers of overdoing passive entertainment. While there's nothing inherently wrong with watching TV or scrolling through social media, these activities can become problematic when they dominate our leisure time. Excessive media consumption can negatively affect our mood and energy levels, leaving us feeling sluggish and disconnected. Moreover, Passive entertainment can sometimes become a form of avoidance. We might use it to distract ourselves from tasks we're procrastinating on or emotions we don't want to deal with. While this might provide temporary relief, it often leads to increased stress and anxiety in the long run. To prevent passive leisure from taking over, it's helpful to set some boundaries. This might mean limiting screen time, designating certain hours or days for more active pursuits, or creating a list of engaging activities to turn to when you're tempted to fall into passive habits. So how do we identify enjoyable, growth-oriented leisure activities? The process starts with self-reflection. Consider your personal interests and hobbies. What activities do you find genuinely enjoyable? What skills have you always wanted to develop? What values are most important to you, and how might your leisure time reflect those values? Brainstorming a list of potential activities can be a helpful exercise. Don't censor yourself at this stage. Include anything that sparks your interest, even if it seems impractical or challenging. The goal is to generate a wide range of options that you can then evaluate and refine. As you consider different activities, think about how they might align with your broader goals and values. For instance, if personal growth is important to you, you might prioritize activities that involve learning new skills. If creativity is a core value, you might focus on artistic pursuits. If health and fitness are priorities, you might lean towards physical activities. It's also important to introduce variety into your leisure time. Engaging in a diverse range of activities helps prevent boredom and stagnation. It allows you to develop different aspects of yourself and can lead to unexpected discoveries about your interests and abilities. Don't be afraid to try new things. Some of the most rewarding hobbies often start as experiments. When choosing hobbies or skills to develop, look for those that naturally align with your interests and personality. The goal is to find activities that feel rewarding in themselves, not just for their potential benefits. If you're forcing yourself to engage in a hobby because you think you should, it's likely to feel like work rather than leisure. That said, it's normal for new activities to feel challenging at first. The key is to distinguish between the natural discomfort of learning something new and the persistent feeling that an activity just isn't right for you. Give new pursuits a fair chance, but also be willing to move on if they consistently feel like a chore. Balancing fun and personal development is at the heart of smart leisure. This doesn't mean turning every moment of free time into a self-improvement session. Rather, it's about finding ways to enjoy yourself that also contribute to your overall well-being and growth. Light physical activities can play a crucial role in refreshing both body and mind. Movement has a powerful effect on our mood and energy levels, helping to clear mental fog and reduce stress. The key is to find forms of physical activity that you genuinely enjoy. This might be a leisurely bike ride, a dance class, or simply taking a walk in nature. The goal is to move your body in ways that feel good, not to turn your leisure time into a grueling workout. Creative outlets are another powerful form of smart leisure. Engaging in arts, crafts, music, or writing can provide a sense of flow and self-expression that's deeply satisfying. These activities allow us to tap into different parts of our brains, often providing a welcome contrast to our daily work. Even if you don't consider yourself particularly artistic, exploring creative pursuits can be a rewarding way to spend your free time. While spontaneity has its place, there's value in scheduling some of your leisure activities. This might seem counterintuitive. After all, isn't leisure supposed to be free from the constraints of schedules? However, planning can actually enhance your enjoyment of free time. It ensures that you make space for activities you truly value, rather than defaulting to passive options out of habit or convenience. Scheduling doesn't mean rigidly planning every moment of your weekend. Instead, think of it as creating intentional pockets of time for activities you want to prioritize. This might mean blocking out an hour for reading, setting aside a morning for a hike, or designating an evening for a creative project. The structure provides a framework for enjoyment without becoming restrictive. Social connections play a vital role in our well-being, and smart leisure often involves shared activities. Engaging friends or family in weekend pursuits can deepen relationships and create lasting memories. Consider ways to align your social time with your personal growth goals. This might mean starting a book club, organizing group hikes, or collaborating on creative projects. Setting group intentions for leisure activities can enhance their impact. When you and your friends or family agree on a shared goal or activity, it creates a sense of purpose and accountability. This doesn't mean turning every social gathering into a structured event, but rather finding ways to infuse your time together with meaning and intention. Of course, balancing social engagements with personal goals can be challenging. It's important to set boundaries around your time and energy. This might mean learning to say no to invitations that don't align with your priorities, or finding ways to incorporate personal growth activities into your social plans. The key is to maintain a balance that allows for both meaningful connections and individual development. One of the most common pitfalls of weekend leisure is the Sunday evening regret, that sinking feeling that you've somehow wasted your free time. Recognizing the signs of unfulfilling leisure is crucial to avoiding this experience. Pay attention to how you feel after different activities. Do you feel energized and satisfied, or drained and discontent? Learning to distinguish between good tired, the satisfying fatigue after an engaging day, and bad tired, the lethargy that comes from unfulfilling activities, can guide your future choices. It's also important to be flexible with your plans. If you find your energy flagging mid-weekend, be willing to adjust. This might mean swapping out a planned activity for something more restorative, or scaling back on social commitments if you're feeling overwhelmed. The goal is to remain responsive to your needs, ensuring that your leisure time truly serves its purpose of rejuvenation and enjoyment. Ending the weekend on a positive note can significantly impact your readiness for the week ahead. Consider creating a Sunday evening ritual that helps you transition mindfully from weekend to work week. This might involve reflecting on the highlights of your weekend, setting intentions for the coming week, or engaging in a calming activity that helps you feel centered and prepared. As you experiment with smart leisure, remember that the goal is not perfection, but progress. It's about gradually shifting your free time towards activities that leave you feeling more fulfilled, energized, and aligned with your values. Over time, you may find that your entire approach to weekends, and indeed to life, begins to transform. The beauty of smart leisure lies in its personalization. What constitutes rewarding and rejuvenating free time will be different for everyone. The key is to remain curious, open to experimentation, and attuned to what truly nourishes your mind, body, and spirit. As we close this chapter on smart leisure, you might be wondering how to maintain this intentional approach to free time when life gets hectic. How can you ensure that your weekends remain a source of true rejuvenation, even amid the pressures and demands of daily life? The next chapter will introduce you to a powerful strategy for managing your energy and maintaining balance, no matter what challenges you face. Get ready to discover the secret to staying refreshed and motivated week after week as we explore the art of the weekend reset. Energy reset. As the weekend approaches, a familiar scenario unfolds for many of us. We drag ourselves to the finish line of Friday, feeling drained, stressed, and in desperate need of a break. The promise of 2 days free from work obligations beckons like an oasis in the desert. Yet how often have we found ourselves on Sunday evening wondering why we don't feel truly refreshed? Why, despite having time off, do we start the new week feeling just as tired as we ended the last one? The answer lies in a crucial aspect of personal growth and productivity that's often overlooked: the art of recovery. We live in a culture that glorifies hustle, that equates success with constant activity. But what if the key to sustained progress and achievement isn't about doing more, but about resting better? This chapter introduces a powerful concept that can transform your weekends and, by extension, your entire week: the energy reset. It's an approach that goes beyond the simple notion of time off and delves into the science and strategy of true rejuvenation. But before we dive into the how, let's explore the why. To understand the importance of weekend recovery, we need to first recognize the toll that the typical workweek takes on our minds and bodies. Throughout the week, stress accumulates like layers of sediment. Each email, meeting, deadline, and decision adds to this buildup. Even if we're not consciously aware of it, our systems are under constant pressure. This accumulated stress doesn't just affect our mood, it has tangible physical and mental effects. Our cognitive abilities decline, our creativity wanes, and our resilience in the face of challenges diminishes. By Friday, many of us are operating at a fraction of our full capacity. This is where the weekend comes in, not just as a break from work, but as a strategic opportunity to reset and recharge. Think of it like maintaining a high-performance vehicle. You wouldn't expect a car to run indefinitely without refueling, changing the oil, or tuning up the engine. Similarly, our minds and bodies need regular, intentional maintenance to perform at their best. The impact of proper recovery on long-term productivity cannot be overstated. When we truly recharge over the weekend, we start each week with renewed energy, sharper focus, and greater creativity. This doesn't just make us feel better. It dramatically enhances our ability to tackle challenges, generate ideas, and make progress towards our goals. However, not all rest is created equal. This is where many of us go wrong in our approach to weekends. We might think that simply not working is enough to recharge, but the reality is more complex. Inadequate recovery, even if we're technically resting, can have both short-term and long-term negative effects. In the short term, lack of proper rest weakens our weekday performance. We might find ourselves struggling to focus, easily irritated, or lacking the energy to tackle important tasks. Our decision-making abilities suffer, and we're more likely to make mistakes or overlook important details. Over the long term, consistently poor recovery habits can lead to burnout. This isn't just feeling tired. Burnout is a state of chronic physical and emotional exhaustion that can have serious consequences for our health, relationships, and career. It's a state that's much harder to recover from than simple fatigue, often requiring extended periods of rest or even professional intervention. Recognizing the signs of an under-recovered mind and body is crucial. These might include persistent fatigue that doesn't improve with a night's sleep, difficulty concentrating, increased irritability, a sense of detachment from work or personal life, or a general feeling of being overwhelmed by tasks that you used to handle with ease. This brings us to a critical point. Rest is not just a luxury or a reward for hard work. It's a key component of personal growth and sustained success. There's a pervasive myth in our society that nonstop work equals success, that taking time to rest is somehow a sign of weakness or lack of commitment. This couldn't be further from the truth. In reality, intentional rest increases focus and creativity. When we give our minds time to relax and wander, we often find solutions to problems that had stumped us during focused work sessions. New ideas emerge, connections form, and our overall cognitive function improves. Moreover, sustainable energy management is crucial for long-term success. Think of your energy as a renewable resource, not an endless supply. Just as we're learning the importance of sustainable practices in our use of natural resources, we need to adopt sustainable practices in managing our personal energy. This means regular, intentional periods of rest and recovery. So, how do we approach this energy reset? The key lies in understanding the difference between structured rest and aimless inactivity. Many of us, when faced with free time, default to passive activities like binge-watching TV or endlessly scrolling through social media. While these might feel restful in the moment, they often leave us feeling more drained than refreshed. Intentional downtime, on the other hand, is about consciously choosing activities that replenish our energy reserves. This doesn't mean every moment of your weekend needs to be scheduled, but it does mean being mindful about how you spend your time off. Structured rest is more rejuvenating than mindless rest because it engages different parts of our brain and body in ways that promote recovery. For example, engaging in a hobby you enjoy activates the reward centers in your brain, releasing neurotransmitters that enhance mood and reduce stress. Physical activities, Even light ones help release tension from your body and improve circulation, aiding in physical recovery. Planned relaxation also prevents the common phenomenon of wasted weekends, those times when we reach Sunday evening and feel like we've squandered our free time. By having a loose plan for how you'll spend your downtime, you ensure that you engage in activities that are truly restorative for you. This doesn't mean your entire weekend should be structured. Small, unplanned breaks play an important role in reducing stress and allowing for spontaneity. The key is to find a balance between planned activities and free time, ensuring that both contribute to your overall sense of rejuvenation. When choosing activities for your energy reset, focus on those that actively reduce stress. Light movement, for instance, can be incredibly effective in enhancing relaxation. This doesn't mean intense workouts, which can sometimes add to your body's stress load, but gentle activities like walking, stretching, or easy yoga. These forms of movement help release physical tension, improve circulation, and often provide a mental break as well. Equally important are mentally calming activities. This could be meditation, reading for pleasure, engaging in a creative hobby, or simply spending time in nature. The goal is to give your mind a break from the type of focused, analytical thinking that dominates most work weeks. It's important to note that passive rest should be balanced with active engagement. While there's certainly a place for simply lying on the couch or taking a nap, relying solely on passive rest often leaves us feeling sluggish rather than refreshed. The most effective energy reset combines periods of passive rest with activities that gently engage your mind and body in different ways than your typical work does. One of the challenges in implementing an effective energy reset is striking the right balance between productive tasks and true relaxation. Many of us feel pressure to use our weekends to catch up on chores, run errands, or tackle personal projects. While these activities are important, it's crucial not to let them dominate your time off. The key is integration, finding ways to blend work, rest, and fun without overloading yourself. This might mean interspersing short periods of productive activity with longer stretches of relaxation. For example, you might spend an hour on a home project, followed by several hours of leisure activities. The goal is to address necessary tasks without sacrificing your need for recovery. Planned weekend recovery sessions can be a powerful tool in this integration. These are blocks of time specifically dedicated to activities that you find restorative. By scheduling these sessions, you ensure that recovery doesn't get pushed aside by other demands on your time. To prevent overscheduling, which can turn your weekend into a source of stress rather than relief, consider implementing some small practical strategies. One approach is to limit yourself to a certain number of commitments or activities per day. Another is to ensure you have at least one block of completely unstructured time each weekend, allowing for spontaneity and true relaxation. As you begin to implement these energy reset strategies, pay attention to how different activities affect you. What truly leaves you feeling refreshed and energized? What activities, despite seeming restful, actually leave you feeling drained? Everyone's needs are different, so it's important to tailor your approach to what works best for you. Remember, the goal of the energy reset is not just to feel good in the moment, but to set yourself up for a successful week ahead. This means considering not just what you enjoy, but what will have a positive impact on your energy and mindset come Monday morning. One often overlooked aspect of effective recovery is the importance of detaching from work stress. In our hyper-connected world, it's all too easy to keep one eye on work emails or to let our minds drift to upcoming projects, even when we're supposedly relaxing. This constant low-level engagement with work can prevent true recovery from taking place. To combat this, consider implementing some boundaries around work-related activities during your weekend. This might mean setting specific times when you'll check emails, if you must, or it might mean a complete digital detox from work-related communications. The key is to give your mind a true break from work-related stress, allowing for deeper recovery. Another powerful strategy for enhancing your energy reset is to engage in activities that are significantly different from your typical work. If your job involves a lot of analytical thinking, for instance, engaging in creative activities during your downtime can be particularly restorative. If your work is very sedentary, incorporating more physical activities into your weekend can provide a much-needed change of pace. This principle of contrast doesn't just apply to the nature of activities, but also to your environment. Spending time in settings that are different from your usual work environment, whether that's in nature, in a different part of your city, or simply in a room of your home that you don't typically use for work, can enhance the feeling of being away from work stress. As you develop your energy reset practice, you might find it helpful to think of it as a form of self-care. This isn't about indulgence or luxury. It's about maintaining your most valuable resource, your personal energy and well-being. Just as you wouldn't expect a phone to function without recharging its battery, you can't expect yourself to perform at your best without regular, intentional recharging. It's also worth noting that effective recovery isn't just about what you do during your time off, but also about what you don't do. This means learning to say no to commitments that drain your energy without providing sufficient value. It means being willing to disappoint others occasionally in order to protect your need for rest. While this can be challenging, especially for those who are used to always saying yes, it's a crucial skill for maintaining long-term energy and avoiding burnout. As you experiment with different energy reset strategies, you may notice changes not just in how you feel during the weekend, but in your overall approach to work and life. Many people find that when they prioritize effective recovery, they're able to be more focused and productive during their work hours. This can lead to a virtuous cycle where better work performance leads to less stress and more enjoyment of leisure time, which in turn supports better recovery. It's important to approach your energy reset practice with patience and self-compassion. Changing long-standing habits around how you use your free time can be challenging, and you may encounter resistance both from yourself and from others. Remember that this is a process of learning and adaptation. What works for you may change over time, and that's okay. The key is to remain attuned to your needs and willing to adjust your approach as necessary. As you continue to refine your energy reset practice, you may find that it begins to influence other areas of your life. You might become more attuned to your energy levels throughout the week, better able to recognize when you need a break or when you're in a state of flow. You might find yourself naturally making choices that support your energy and well-being, even outside of your designated reset times. This ripple effect is one of the most powerful aspects of the energy reset approach. By prioritizing effective recovery, you're not just improving your weekends, you're enhancing your overall quality of life. You're building resilience, increasing your capacity to handle stress, and setting yourself up for sustained success and well-being. Remember, the goal of the energy reset is not to turn your weekends into a rigid self-improvement regimen. It's about finding a balance that allows you to truly enjoy your time off while also setting yourself up for success in the week ahead. It's about recognizing that rest and productivity are not opposing forces, but complementary aspects of a well-lived life. As we conclude this chapter on the energy reset, you might be wondering how to ensure that the benefits of your rejuvenated state carry over into the work week. How can you maintain this sense of balance and energy when faced with the demands of daily life? The next chapter will introduce you to a powerful practice that can help you consolidate your gains and set the stage for continuous improvement. Get ready to discover how a simple weekly ritual can transform your approach to personal growth and help you become a true master of your time and energy. Chapter 7, Sunday Reflection. As the weekend draws to a close, a familiar sense of anticipation, or perhaps dread, begins to creep in. Monday looms on the horizon, bringing with it the promise of a new week filled with challenges, opportunities, and the inevitable ups and downs of daily life. But what if there was a way to approach this transition not with anxiety, but with clarity, purpose, and even excitement? Enter the practice of Sunday reflection. a simple yet powerful ritual that has the potential to transform not just your weekends, but your entire approach to personal growth and habit formation. At its core, this practice is about taking a moment to pause, to look both backward and forward, and to set the stage for continuous improvement in your life. But why Sunday, and why reflection? To understand the power of this practice, we need to delve into the psychology of habit formation and the role that self-awareness plays in personal development. Our habits, those automatic behaviors and thought patterns that shape so much of our daily lives, don't exist in isolation. They're part of a complex web of triggers, actions, and rewards that our brains have woven over time. Often, we're not even fully aware of these patterns. We simply find ourselves acting in certain ways, responding to situations almost on autopilot. This is where the power of reflection comes in. By taking the time to consciously examine our behaviors and their outcomes, we shine a light on these often hidden patterns. We begin to recognize the triggers that lead to both positive and negative habits. We start to see the connections between our actions and their consequences, not just in the short term, but over weeks, months, and even years. Periodic check-ins, like our Sunday reflection, dramatically improve our chances of success in forming new habits and breaking old ones. They provide a regular touch point, a moment to assess our progress and recalibrate our efforts. Without these check-ins, it's all too easy to drift off course, to let small slips turn into major setbacks, or to miss the subtle signs of progress that can fuel our motivation. Moreover, these reflective practices help us identify and eliminate self-sabotaging behaviors. How often have you found yourself taking 2 steps forward during the week, only to take 1 step back over the weekend? By bringing awareness to these patterns, we can start to address them head-on, developing strategies to maintain our momentum even during times of relaxation or disruption to our normal routines. Consistency in this reflective practice is key to personal growth. There's a world of difference between mindless repetition of habits and intentional improvement. Without regular reflection, we might find ourselves going through the motions, repeating the same patterns week after week without really moving forward. Reflection breaks this cycle, preventing stagnation and ensuring that each week builds upon the lessons of the last. This doesn't mean that every week needs to show dramatic improvement. In fact, one of the most important lessons that Sunday reflection teaches us is that consistency matters more than perfection. It's not about having a flawless week every time, but about maintaining a steady commitment to growth and self-improvement, even in the face of setbacks or challenges. By engaging in this practice each Sunday, we create a loop of continuous improvement. We use the feedback from our reflections to adjust and refine our habits, constantly tweaking our approach based on what we've learned. This iterative process allows us to make steady progress over time, even if each individual step seems small. Sunday, in particular, is the perfect day for this kind of reflection. It stands at the intersection of the week that's ending and the one that's about to begin. It offers a natural pause point, a moment to take stock before diving into the next cycle. By reflecting on Sunday, we can close out the previous week with intention and set ourselves up for success in the week to come. This practice also leverages what psychologists call the fresh start effect. Research has shown that people are more likely to take action towards their goals at temporal landmarks, like the start of a new week, month, or year. By engaging in reflection on Sunday, we tap into this natural tendency, turning Monday into a welcomed reset rather than a dreaded return to the grind. So, how do we actually put this Sunday reflection into practice? The key is to develop a simple, consistent framework that allows you to review your week, celebrate your successes, learn from your setbacks, and plan for the future. Start by identifying your successes over the past week. This isn't about grand achievements, though those are certainly worth noting. Instead, focus on recognizing and reinforcing the small, productive behaviors that moved you closer to your goals. Did you stick to your new morning routine? Did you make progress on a personal project? Did you handle a challenging situation with grace? Celebrating these small wins is crucial for long-term motivation. Our brains are wired to respond positively to success, no matter how minor it might seem. By acknowledging these victories, we reinforce the neural pathways associated with positive habits, making it more likely that we'll repeat them in the future. Consider writing down these accomplishments. The act of putting pen to paper or fingers to keyboard helps to solidify these successes in your mind and provides a tangible record of your progress over time. Imagine looking back after a few months and seeing a long list of small but significant victories. That's powerful motivation to keep going. Of course, not everything will have gone perfectly. The next step in your reflection is to pinpoint any slip-ups or missed opportunities from the past week. This isn't about beating yourself up or dwelling on failures. Instead, it's about identifying areas for improvement and understanding what caused any lapses in consistency. Maybe you noticed that you tend to abandon your exercise routine on busy days, or perhaps you realized that social media is eating up more of your weekend than you'd like. By recognizing these patterns, you can start to develop strategies to address them. The key here is to reframe setbacks as learning experiences. Every failure is actually valuable data that can inform your future efforts. By adopting this mindset, you turn even your least successful weeks into opportunities for growth and improvement. Once you've identified both successes and areas for improvement, the next step is to turn these observations into action steps for the coming week. This is where the real power of Sunday reflection comes into play. You're not just passively reviewing the past, you're actively shaping your future. Make any necessary adjustments to your habits or routines based on what you've learned. If something isn't working, don't be afraid to change it. Remember, this is about progress, not perfection. Set 1 or 2 specific improvement goals for the upcoming week. These should be small, achievable targets that address the areas you've identified for growth. Use your past performance to refine your future efforts. If you notice that you're most productive in the mornings, consider scheduling your most important tasks for those hours. If you found that certain habits were particularly effective, look for ways to reinforce or expand them. The actual process of reflection doesn't need to be complicated or time-consuming. Simple journaling prompts can be incredibly effective. Consider asking yourself 3 basic questions. What went well this week? What could have gone better? What will I do differently next week? Keep your journal entries short and impactful. The goal isn't to write a novel each Sunday, but to capture the key insights that will guide your growth. The act of writing itself can be powerful, helping to reinforce your commitment to self-improvement and making your intentions more concrete. When it comes to tracking your progress, you have a choice between digital and paper tools. Both have their advantages. Digital tools can offer features like reminders and data analysis, while paper journals provide a tactile experience that many find more engaging. The best system is the one that you'll actually use consistently, so experiment to find what works for you. Consider incorporating a short planning session into your Sunday reflection. This is where you take the insights from your reflection and translate them into concrete plans for the week ahead. Write down your intentions for the coming days. Schedule time for the habits and activities that matter most to you. This proactive approach helps you start the week with clarity and purpose, rather than feeling like you're constantly reacting to whatever comes your way. As you engage in this practice week after week, you'll likely start to notice patterns in your energy and motivation levels. You might realize that you're naturally more productive at certain times of day, or that certain activities consistently boost your mood and energy. Use these insights to your advantage, structuring your days and weeks to align with your natural rhythms. This awareness can be particularly helpful in adapting your weekend habits. You might discover that certain weekend rituals consistently set you up for a great week, while others leave you feeling drained or unprepared. Use your reflections to refine your weekend strategy, continually adjusting to find the right balance of rest, productivity, and enjoyment. One of the most powerful aspects of Sunday reflection is how it can help you adjust your goals to match realistic expectations. It's easy to fall into the trap of overscheduling or setting unrealistic targets, especially when we're feeling motivated, but this often leads to burnout and disappointment. Through regular reflection, you can learn to set more achievable weekend targets, focusing on gradual, sustainable habit development rather than dramatic overnight changes. As you develop your reflection practice, it's crucial to maintain a positive attitude. This isn't about harsh self-criticism or dwelling on shortcomings. Instead, use your reflections as an opportunity to practice gratitude. Take a moment each Sunday to write down 1 or 2 things you appreciate from the past week. This simple act can shift your focus from mistakes to progress, reinforcing the positive aspects of your journey. It's also important to avoid falling into the trap of guilt, especially when it comes to bad weekends. We all have times when we don't live up to our own expectations. The key is to learn from these experiences without harsh self-judgment. Embrace a growth mindset, viewing every setback as an opportunity to learn and improve. Use your Sunday reflection as a chance to reset mentally, approaching each new week with fresh energy and optimism. To make this practice a consistent part of your routine, consider using external cues to remind yourself to reflect. This could be as simple as setting a recurring alarm on your phone or leaving your journal in a prominent place where you'll see it on Sunday evening. The goal is to make reflection a natural, rewarding part of your weekend, something you look forward to rather than a chore. As you continue to engage in Sunday reflection, you may find that its benefits extend far beyond just habit formation. This practice can enhance your overall self-awareness, improve your decision-making skills, and give you a greater sense of control over your life. It can help you identify patterns and connections that you might otherwise miss, leading to insights that can transform not just your weekends, but your entire approach to personal growth. Remember, the goal of Sunday reflection isn't to create a perfect week every time. It's about continuous, incremental improvement. It's about developing a deeper understanding of yourself and your habits. And most importantly, it's about taking an active role in shaping your life, week by week, choice by choice. As we close this chapter on Sunday reflection, you might be wondering how to take this practice to the next level. How can you use the insights gained from your weekly reflections to experiment with new habits and push the boundaries of your personal growth? The next chapter will introduce you to a powerful strategy for turning your weekends into a laboratory for positive change. Get ready to discover how small, controlled experiments can lead to big breakthroughs in your journey of self-improvement. Chapter 8, Habit Experimentation. Have you ever stood at the edge of a pool, wanting to dive in, but hesitating because you weren't sure about the temperature of the water? That moment of uncertainty, where you're caught between the desire to plunge in and the fear of discomfort, is not unlike the feeling many of us experience when contemplating a new habit or lifestyle change. We often approach habit formation with an all-or-nothing mentality. We believe we must commit fully and immediately, diving headfirst into a new routine without testing the waters. This approach can be intimidating, leading to procrastination or abandonment of our goals before we even start. But what if there was a way to ease into new habits? A method that allowed you to test the waters, adjust the temperature, and gradually acclimate yourself to change. This is where the concept of habit experimentation comes into play, and your weekends are the perfect laboratory for this transformative approach. Weekends offer a unique opportunity in our lives. Free from the rigid structures and demands of the work week, they provide a low-stakes environment for trial and error. Think of your weekend as a sandbox, a safe space where you can build, destroy, and rebuild without fear of significant consequences. This low-pressure setting is ideal for habit testing. During the week, we're often running on autopilot, our routines dictated by work schedules and responsibilities, but weekends offer flexibility. You can try out a new morning routine without worrying about being late for work. You can experiment with a new hobby without the stress of fitting it into a packed weekday schedule. The beauty of using weekends for habit experimentation lies in the ability to learn from mini experiments without frustration. If a new habit doesn't quite work out, you haven't disrupted your entire week. You can simply note what didn't work, adjust your approach, and try again next weekend. This iterative process is far less daunting than committing to a major lifestyle change all at once. When approaching weekend habit experimentation, it's crucial to start small. Choose 1 or 2 habits to experiment with rather than trying to overhaul your entire routine. This controlled focus allows you to give each new habit the attention it deserves and prevents you from feeling overwhelmed. Consider habits that fit naturally into your weekend rhythm. Perhaps you've been wanting to incorporate more reading into your life. The relaxed pace of a Saturday morning might be the perfect time to experiment with a reading habit. Or maybe you've been meaning to start a journaling practice. A quiet Sunday evening could be an ideal moment for reflection. The key is to ensure that your experiments don't overwhelm your schedule. Remember, the goal is to make your weekends more fulfilling, not to turn them into a stressful series of self-improvement tasks. Your experiments should enhance your weekend, not dominate it. As you embark on your habit experiments, it's essential to emphasize curiosity over perfection. Perfectionism is often the enemy of habit formation. When we set impossibly high standards for ourselves, we set ourselves up for disappointment and are more likely to give up when we inevitably fall short. Instead, approach your habit experiments with a spirit of curiosity. What happens if you try this new routine? How does it make you feel? What unexpected challenges or benefits arise? This curious mindset makes the process of learning new habits easier and more enjoyable. It turns habit formation into an adventure of self-discovery rather than a grueling test of willpower. This approach requires a fundamental mindset shift. Instead of viewing your experiments as pass or fail scenarios, see them as opportunities to adjust and improve. Every outcome, whether it aligns with your expectations or not, provides valuable data about what works for you and what doesn't. When planning a habit experiment, it's important to be specific about the behavior you want to test. Vague intentions like exercise more or be more productive are difficult to act upon and evaluate. Instead, define the exact behavior you want to try. For example, do a 15-minute yoga session every Saturday morning, or spend 30 minutes on a creative project every Sunday afternoon. Deciding on the duration and frequency of your experiment is also crucial. For weekend experiments, you might choose to try a new habit on both Saturday and Sunday, or you might dedicate one day to your experiment and leave the other free. The important thing is to set clear parameters for your experiment so you can accurately assess its impact. Setting up a quick feedback loop is essential for evaluating the success of your experiments. This doesn't need to be complex. It could be as simple as taking a few minutes at the end of each day to jot down how you felt about the new habit. Did it energize you or drain you? Was it easier or harder than you expected? What might you do differently next time? One of the most powerful aspects of weekend habit experimentation is the ability to embrace flexible approaches. Unlike during the work week, where routines are often set in stone, weekends allow for more spontaneity and adjustment. Don't be afraid to tweak your habit mid-weekend if necessary. If you find that your planned morning meditation isn't working well, try moving it to the evening. If a new exercise routine feels too intense, scale it back. This flexibility allows you to overcome obstacles and adjust your strategies in real time. Learning to recognize when to pivot or persist is a valuable skill in habit formation. Sometimes, initial discomfort is simply part of the adjustment process, and pushing through will lead to long-term benefits. Other times, continued struggle might indicate that a different approach is needed. Trust your instincts and use your experimental mindset to guide these decisions. Weekend habit experimentation also allows you to harness what psychologists call the fresh start effect. This phenomenon suggests that people are more likely to take action towards their goals at temporal landmarks, like the start of a new week, month, or year. By treating each weekend as a mini new beginning, you can tap into this motivational boost. Saturday mornings can become your personal New Year's Day, a fresh slate for trying out new behaviors and routines. This mindset can create powerful momentum that flows into Monday and beyond. Moreover, these weekend experiments can reinforce your confidence through incremental success. Each small win, each habit successfully tested, builds your belief in your ability to make positive changes in your life. This growing self-efficacy can have a ripple effect, empowering you to take on bigger challenges and pursue more ambitious goals. Recording your learnings and next steps is a crucial part of the habit experimentation process. Consider keeping a journal or tracker dedicated to your weekend experiments. Document your observations, what worked well, what challenges you faced, how you felt before, during, and after trying the new habit. These records become a valuable resource as you continue your journey of self-improvement. You can apply insights from one experiment to future ones, gradually building a personalized roadmap of what works best for you. Over time, you'll develop a deep understanding of your own tendencies, preferences, and the conditions under which you thrive. As you become more comfortable with the habit experimentation process, you can start to transition successful experiments into ongoing routines. A Saturday morning yoga practice that consistently leaves you feeling energized and centered might become a regular part of your weekend. A Sunday afternoon creative session that sparks joy and inspiration could evolve into a daily habit. The beauty of this approach is that by the time you decide to incorporate a habit more permanently into your life, you've already tested it, tweaked it, and confirmed its value to you. This dramatically increases the likelihood that the habit will stick long-term. Remember, the goal of habit experimentation is not to fill every moment of your weekend with self-improvement activities. It's about finding a balance that works for you, discovering habits that genuinely enhance your life, and approaching personal growth with a sense of play and curiosity. As you engage in this process, you might be surprised by what you discover about yourself. Perhaps you'll find that you're more of a morning person than you thought, or that a hobby you've always been curious about brings you unexpected joy. Maybe you'll realize that a habit you thought you should adopt doesn't actually align with your values or lifestyle. These discoveries are all valuable, even if they're not what you initially expected. Remember, in the world of habit experimentation, there are no failures, only data. Every experiment, whether it leads to a new long-term habit or simply teaches you something about yourself, is a success. The process of habit experimentation can also help you develop greater self-compassion. By approaching change as a series of experiments rather than a test of your willpower or character, you create space for growth without harsh self-judgment. You learn to view setbacks as learning opportunities rather than personal failings. This mindset shift can have profound effects beyond just habit formation. It can change how you approach challenges in all areas of your life, fostering resilience, creativity, and a growth-oriented perspective. As you become more adept at weekend habit experimentation, you may find yourself naturally extending this approach to other areas of your life. The skills you develop, curiosity, flexibility, self-reflection, are valuable in any context where personal growth is the goal. You might start applying the experimental mindset to your work, testing new productivity strategies or communication techniques. You could use it in your relationships, trying out new ways of connecting with loved ones, or resolving conflicts. The possibilities are endless once you embrace the idea that growth comes through experimentation and iteration rather than rigid adherence to predetermined plans. It's important to note that habit experimentation is not about constant change for the sake of change. The ultimate goal is to discover and cultivate habits that truly serve you, practices that enhance your well-being, productivity, and overall quality of life. Some experiments will lead to long-term habits, while others will simply provide valuable insights. Both outcomes are equally valuable in your journey of self-discovery and improvement. As you continue to engage in weekend habit experimentation, you'll likely find that your relationship with change itself begins to shift. Instead of fearing new routines or dreading the discipline required to form new habits, you might find yourself looking forward to the opportunity to try something new. Change becomes an adventure rather than a chore. This shift can have a profound impact on your overall approach to life. You become more adaptable, more open to new experiences, and more resilient in the face of unexpected changes. These qualities are invaluable in our rapidly changing world, where flexibility and the ability to learn quickly are increasingly important. Moreover, the skills you develop through habit experimentation, self-awareness, strategic thinking, the ability to analyze and adjust based on feedback, are highly transferable. They can enhance your performance in your career, improve your personal relationships, and contribute to your overall sense of competence and self-efficacy. As you become more comfortable with the process of habit experimentation, you might find yourself naturally expanding the scope of your experiments. While weekends remain an ideal testing ground, you might start to see opportunities for mini-experiments throughout your week. A long lunch break might become a chance to try a new mindfulness practice. A free evening could be an opportunity to experiment with a new evening routine. This expansion doesn't mean you should fill every free moment with experiments. Rather, it's about developing an experimental mindset that allows you to approach life with curiosity and openness. You begin to see each day as an opportunity to learn, grow, and refine your understanding of what works best for you. Remember, the goal of habit experimentation is not to achieve perfection or to constantly be adding new habits to your life. It's about developing a deeper understanding of yourself and cultivating practices that genuinely enhance your well-being and help you achieve your goals. Sometimes, the most valuable outcome of an experiment might be the realization that a particular habit, despite its supposed benefits, doesn't actually fit well into your life or align with your values. As you continue your journey of habit experimentation, you'll likely find that the process becomes more intuitive over time. You'll develop a better sense of which experiments are worth trying, how to set them up for success, and how to interpret the results. This growing expertise will make your experiments more effective and enjoyable. However, it's important to maintain a beginner's mindset even as you become more experienced. Stay open to surprise. Be willing to challenge your assumptions and always be ready to learn something new about yourself. The most powerful experiments are often those that push you out of your comfort zone or challenge your preconceived notions about what you're capable of. As we conclude this chapter on habit experimentation, you might be wondering how to take all these individual experiments and weave them into a cohesive strategy for long-term growth and success. How can you ensure that the insights and habits you develop during your weekends don't get lost in the hustle and bustle of the work week? The next chapter will introduce you to a powerful approach for bridging the gap between your weekend warrior mentality and your everyday life. Get ready to discover how to create lasting change that extends far beyond Saturday and Sunday. Chapter 9, Carrying It Forward. As we reach the final chapter of our journey together, you might be feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension. You've discovered the power of rethinking your weekends, learned strategies for creating morning momentum, explored the concept of micro-wins, and even delved into the art of habit experimentation. But now comes the real challenge. How do you take all of this weekend wisdom and carry it forward into the rest of your week? This is where the rubber meets the road, where theory transforms into practice, and where the true power of the weekend warrior mindset reveals itself. Because here's the truth. A habit practiced only on weekends, while valuable, has limited impact. It's when we bridge the gap between our weekend aspirations and our weekday realities that we unlock the potential for true, lasting transformation. The key to this transformation lies in continuity. It's about creating a seamless flow between the person you are on Saturday and Sunday and the person you are Monday through Friday. This doesn't mean turning your entire week into an extension of the weekend. That's neither practical nor desirable. Instead, it's about finding ways to carry forward the essence of what makes your weekends powerful and integrating it into your daily life. Let's start by identifying the core routines you want to sustain. Look back over the past few weekends. What habits or practices have consistently left you feeling energized, focused, or fulfilled? These are the gems you want to carry forward. Maybe it's the sense of calm you get from a morning meditation practice, or the clarity that comes from journaling. Perhaps it's the energy boost from a quick workout or the satisfaction of making progress on a personal project. Not every weekend habit needs to or should become a daily practice. Some activities are special precisely because they're reserved for your days off. The goal is to pick the most effective habits for weekday integration, those that will have the biggest positive impact on your daily life without overwhelming your schedule. Once you've identified these core habits, the next step is adapting them to fit your tighter weekday schedule. This is where many people stumble. They try to replicate their weekend routines exactly and quickly become frustrated when it doesn't work. The key is to make your habits scalable. For example, if your weekend routine includes an hour-long yoga session, you might scale that down to a 10-minute morning stretch on weekdays. If you enjoy spending 2 hours reading on Sunday afternoons, perhaps you can carve out 20 minutes before bed each night for reading. The goal is to preserve the essence of the habit, the calm, the focus, the learning, even if the structure changes. Of course, weekdays come with their own unique challenges. Time constraints, work stress, and fatigue can all conspire to derail even the best intentions. Recognizing these potential habit killers is the first step in overcoming them. Develop preemptive strategies to maintain consistency. This might mean preparing the night before to remove morning obstacles or creating a habit emergency plan for days when everything seems to go wrong. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. It's about making small but effective adjustments to ensure follow-through more often than not. Some days, your habit might be reduced to its absolute minimum: a single minute of meditation, a few pages read, a handful of push-ups. That's okay. What matters is maintaining the continuity, keeping the neural pathways of your habit active and alive. This brings us to the power of consistency and repetition. The more frequently you perform a habit, the more automatic it becomes. This is why bridging the gap between weekends and weekdays is so crucial. By practicing your habits daily, even in a reduced form, you're reinforcing them at a neural level, making them more resistant to disruption. But consistency doesn't mean rigidity. The key is to find a balance between routine and flexibility. Set a general structure for your habits, but be willing to adapt as needed. Some days you might do more, some days less. What matters is the overall trend, the commitment to showing up for yourself day after day. Maintaining motivation when weekday pressures mount can be challenging. This is where it becomes crucial to tie your habits to deeper personal meaning. Remind yourself why these practices matter to you. How do they align with your values and long-term goals? Connecting to this deeper purpose can provide the motivation to persist even when you're tired or stressed. Celebrate your small daily wins. Each time you follow through on a habit, no matter how small, you're reinforcing your identity as someone who keeps their commitments. These little victories add up, creating a positive feedback loop that fuels further success. Don't underestimate the power of external cues and reminders. Our environments have a profound impact on our behavior. Use this to your advantage by creating visual cues that prompt your habits. This could be as simple as leaving your journal on your nightstand or setting a daily alarm as a habit reminder. The goal is to reduce the mental effort required to initiate your habits, making them as frictionless as possible. One powerful strategy for integrating new habits into your weekday routine is habit stacking. This involves attaching a new habit to an existing, well-established routine. For example, if you always have a cup of coffee in the morning, you might use that as a cue to do a quick gratitude practice. By piggybacking on existing habits, you make it easier for new ones to take root. Consider how you can adjust your work and home environments to support your habits. Small changes can have a big impact. Maybe it's keeping a water bottle on your desk to encourage hydration, or setting up a small meditation corner in your home. The goal is to create an environment that makes your desired habits the path of least resistance. As you work to carry your weekend momentum into the week, it's important to maintain the weekend warrior mentality. Continue to view your weekends as a catalyst for growth, not just a break from work. Use Saturday and Sunday to recharge, yes, but also to experiment, reflect, and set intentions for the week ahead. This creates a powerful cycle where your weekends fuel your weekdays, and your weekday progress enhances your weekends. Perhaps the most profound shift that occurs as you carry your weekend warrior habits forward is the change in how you see yourself. You move from someone who occasionally tries to build good habits to someone who consistently lives them. This identity shift is powerful. When you start to see yourself as a person who meditates or someone who prioritizes creativity, those habits become a natural expression of who you are, not just something you do. As you progress on this journey, remember to celebrate your ongoing wins. Acknowledge the progress you're making, no matter how small it might seem. Create a personal reward system that reinforces your consistency. This isn't about grand gestures, but small, meaningful ways to recognize your efforts and reinforce your commitment. Reflecting on the journey we've taken through this book, it's clear that we've covered a lot of ground. We've shifted from viewing weekends as passive recovery time to seeing them as proactive opportunities for growth and rejuvenation. We've explored strategies for creating momentum, achieving micro-wins, and experimenting with new habits. And now, we're bridging the gap between weekend aspirations and weekday realities. But perhaps the most important lesson is this: every small action compounds over time. The 5-minute meditation, the quick journal entry, the moment taken to plan your day, these might seem insignificant in isolation. But when practiced consistently, day after day, week after week, they create a profound transformation in your life. As you move forward, remember that no system is set in stone. Life changes, and your habits should evolve with it. Stay flexible, continue to experiment, and be willing to adjust your approach as needed. Use the strategies you've learned to keep your self-improvement journey fresh and engaging. The weekend warrior mindset isn't just a temporary fix or a short-term challenge. It's a lifelong approach to growth and fulfillment. Your weekend habits should grow and evolve with you, adapting to new phases of life, new goals, and new challenges. This is a long-term commitment to owning your time, your growth, and ultimately your life. As we conclude this book, I want to leave you with a powerful truth. You have within you the potential for extraordinary growth and fulfillment. The weekends, those 48 precious hours that come around every 7 days, are not just a break from your real life. They are an integral part of it, a powerful tool for shaping the person you want to become. By embracing the weekend warrior mindset, by carrying forward the habits and strategies we've explored, you're not just changing how you spend your Saturdays and Sundays. You're transforming your entire approach to life. You're becoming someone who sees every day as an opportunity for growth, who approaches challenges with curiosity and resilience, who finds balance between ambition and rest. This journey doesn't end with the closing of this book. It's just beginning. From this moment forward, every weekend is a new opportunity to refine your approach, to experiment with new ideas, to push your boundaries just a little bit further. And every weekday is a chance to carry that momentum forward, to integrate your aspirations into your daily reality. You are no longer at the mercy of the weekly grind, caught in an endless cycle of exhaustion and recovery. You are a weekend warrior, someone who uses every part of the week, including and especially the weekends, to create a life of purpose, growth, and fulfillment. So go forth with confidence. Embrace your weekends, carry that energy forward into your weeks, and watch as day by day, week by week, you transform not just your habits, but your entire life. But remember, true transformation requires more than just action. It demands thoughtful consideration. Have you ever wondered why some of your carefully crafted weekend plans fall apart during the week? The answer lies in a crucial skill that complements everything you've learned. Discover how to make your weekend warrior strategies truly stick by exploring the audiobook, Think Before You Act, Mastering Critical Thinking for Thoughtful Action. Tap the center of the video now to continue your transformation journey.